Ministry of Interior, sorry. NPP assures members online registration will be not affect internal elections. Free zones donate 300,000 support Mahama Cares Heal Ghana month campaign. The new Insight, the Insight newspaper, Cocoa Board inject 4.2 billion Ghana cedi to settle cocoa farmers' arrears. NDC appointees must align themselves with core values of social democracy, says Honorable Nhyira Ashite. Afro-Arab group signs MOU with Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry on purchases of electric vehicles. Beware of fake DV number plates in circulation. DVLA wants public. 7 months after deadly clash, family appeals to IGP to arrest Omanjo killers. Nipa boni for the Spain removes ambassador from Israel over US-Israel war on Iran. Spain why the pa anka Ghana so betimi aye bold di anka betimi aboa. That is how it's supposed to be. So be a bibina you frown on it, but you don't be quiet. President Mahama has commissioned a new state of the art liquefied petroleum gas LPG vessel in the Republic of Korea, describing it as a strategic asset that will enhance energy. Okay, the man penny when we say to Korea into and a sad story we a free bossy. The event, which took place yesterday at a major shipyard in South Korea, a nation celebrated for its maritime engineering process, saw the official launch of MT Ashirami Ghana, a dual fuel, fully refrigerated LPG carrier, addressing the gathering of dignitaries, industries, leaders, and partners. President Mahama emphasized the occasion represented far more than a launch of a single vessel. We are Koreans, and my man, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Echo Korea. Mumma Nkoti anti-corruption crusader. Vatimazim Okasa about the issue of state lands. Someone saying Chibiana, Ministry of Land, a issue that clarification with regards to what is happening. Those who are buying state, especially politicians, anti-corruption crusader on this issue.
For deciding which lands to sell and which lands to keep. The criteria should be, is government using the land for the purpose for which it was acquired? Does government still have use for that land? If government doesn't have use for the land, then of course there should be nothing wrong with selling it. But in selling it, it has to be an accurate evaluation of the value of the land so that a reasonable price can be offered for it. If you don't want it to be seen as political patronage, selling only to party people or party funders. But those who have already bought, if they didn't pay a reasonable price for it, they should be made to pay the difference.
We are anti-corruption crusader, yes. Uncle Vital Wazim. Republic of Congo heads to presidential election. Yes. Yeah, the inside story of the story that you can find on page 5 of the Daily Graphic. It was days before Congo's presidential election on Sunday. Its streets were filled with campaign posters and banners urging the country's 2.6 million registered voters to head to the polls. The Republic of Congo, home to 6 million people on one of Africa's major oil producers, continues to face persistent economic challenges, including the youth unemployment rate of 40% and low standard of living for much of their population. Senegal doubles maximum penalty for same-sex activity. Every Senegal, Dakar. Senegal's parliament has approved a new law doubling the 10 years, the maximum of prison term for sexual acts by same-sex couples and criminalizing the promotion of homosexuality. That is a very good one. If African president will be bold like this, death toll from Ethiopia floods. Landslides rises to 60 every Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. At least 64 people have been killed in floods and landslides triggered by heavy rains in Gamo zone of southern Ethiopia. Local police inspector Abraham Buha says earlier in the week, officials had put death toll at more than 30. Dozens are still missing. The authorities reported that most people had died in the highland areas where saturated slopes slopes gave way after days of intense pain. They urged residents in vulnerable areas to take precautions. Just issue Ethiopia. Daily Guide, Daily Graphic editorial and say MT Asherami Ghana, a strategic step to our energy future. Ghana didn't share the edible, but as to whether it will benefit the masses, and a problem. Share the commendation by the editorial of today's Daily Graphic. Consider the commissioning of a new state-of-the-art liquefied petroleum gas LPG vessel, the Sahara LPG vessel MT Asherami Ghana in South Korea marks a pivotal moment in Ghana's pursuit of energy security and sustainability. The ceremony that took place in the shipbuilding yards of the Republic of Korea yesterday deserves the careful attention of every Ghanaian. The presence of President John Dramani Mahama at the commissioning of the MT Asherami Ghana signals the importance of the moment in Ghana's broader effort to secure a reliable and sustainable energy future. That is the editorial for today's Daily Graphic. If you want more, Bomodia Nakoto newspaper, no, you have more on that matter. Yanko International. International. World faces oil supply disruption. Sasami sama edi kan edi tuja se America ni Israel ni Iran ntokoi ya nhwe na ya mompa ya ma empenyifo Yankopon ka wo kwa na munjai sa entokwa hu hia entokwa emfa friends adi papa bi ya mba sa entokwa no ye di na to aso dia ebe ha dwumpa, especially when you say chrome had anything about fuel increment biano they affect most of the stuff that we have in the market. Until moment experts are more in the issue of your friend is saying petrol and then and all that. The omuka about the fuel price and the tension in the Middle East. Duncan Amwa is somebody who is in this industry for a long woman.
Been surprised the market has not returned the numbers at the pumps yet. The Energy Ministry, the Finance Ministry should be cranking the numbers by this time to also see what they can do to ensure that we do not get to the 17 or the 18, because once you get to those prices, even when you expect them to drop, they are quite sticky. And so I would expect that some intervention be placed, because once prices of petroleum products go up, you are increasing virtually everything. Transport operators are already asking for some upward adjustment in their operational returns. That would mean that everybody else will be asking for a little more money. And I think that some analysis would need to be done immediately before we get to Monday.
Yes, say abanhwena immediately. Eni minimi ya yemfa hihye yemfa nto akomenye sadia. Se entokwa wetu aso dia. And the economy no it will be off gear. Embwa intino momodia obia mbomodia na nkompa bom na Nyankopon enka ankoma edisa your friend say misunderstanding we eba ya ema omokuntokwai na ensi enyesa enyina emwai tax consultant nso no Mr. Francis also or kase uhwe the call by some sectors say about the cent to call to us there, and they say buy any taxis your friend saying petrol so send a bear a at least I'm on any problem na abana ebe ma ebe kosoro and affect you so much we dey also dey be anya hwe ye ne saa eno so betimi affect aban ni a friend saying sika or the ejuma ewo chrome ha mama enko na nkoti ono so.
It's a tricky one, and for me, this is a critical test for government because since the economic indicators started doing good, this is the major hit that government is having. We've heard people saying that we should remove some of the taxes, but it needs to be balanced really because if you look at some of the taxes that were introduced, for example, the Dumso levy, it is supposed to deal with some financial obligations that has already been committed. And so for me, what I'm expecting is that government should be able to do some analysis to see which one will have a wider impact. If having power crisis will have a wider impact on the Ghanaian economy, then potentially we may decide to leave the Dumso levy and look at some other taxes, even though, just like Duncan has said, it may not bring down the fuel prices as we are seeing. Targeting some special financial obligatory levies like the Dumso levy can also, spill over and then go and bring power crisis.
Yes, we omo empenifo. Yes, experts. Omo na mre bia say tie mu, ye tie omo pa, e betime aboy empenifo policy makers no. Mo mo dia na mu tie omo. Eno nso no suggestion ni advices omo ma no. Se tie ebe boa. Bo man kokumache na enkotie de Gilbert Mauli Agbe on Nochoma Daily Graphic. The story can be found on page 13 of the Bukata Daily Graphic and now pay. Also, Ashanti region attract $3.4 billion. Hey, and this kakitwa foreign direct investment. We esi Kumasi. Mr. Simon, Chief Executive Officer of GIPC. Ano ene kasa ewo inshimasi mmanti die okay. Also between 1994 and June 2025, the Ashanti region attracted approximately $3.4 billion in foreign direct investment across 410 projects registered with the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. The Chief Executive Officer of GIPC, Simon Maje, said the figure, which represented 6.5% of the entire amount, $52.8 billion FDI that came into the country within the period, portrayed that much more remained to be unlocked to the region towards its economic transformation. In quotation, you see, the challenge has not been a lack of opportunities. Instead, many promising projects have failed to attract attention of investors because they have not been clearly identified, properly packaged, and presented in a way that meet investors' expectations. End of quotes. We edit Mr. Simon Edituja. Sika eba Ashanti region kwa within this period, and strategically at mission edit 2 year and kabetimia abuapa. GPA launches 50th anniversary celebrations. Joyce Timbila Awuni. And this is our story by it. Also, the Ghana Publishers Association has launched activities to mark its 50th anniversary with a call on stakeholders to strengthen indigenous publishing, protect Ghanaian intellectual property, and promote locally produced books to support national development. The association reaffirmed its commitment to preserving Ghanaian stories, strengthening the publishing industry, and shaping the country's intellectual future. The launch formed part of the activities making the Golden Jubilee of the association, which was established on March 10, 1976. Hey. There's an advert here that says that's on page 15 of Daily Graphic. It's a sword cutting ceremony for the construction of first farmer service center by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. Yes, guest of honor, Honorable Eric Opoku, Minister of Food and Agriculture. Beba super on Saturday 21st, 2026. Yes, that's a Kuhu Afram Plains. Kuhu, somewhat. This time there is more of business a friend is saying dimension. Center spread of daily graphic is page 16 and page 17 of daily graphic. Or see building confidence in your abilities. Vice President urges women. Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Her Excellency Professor Nana Jean Opoku Ajiman. Yes, she was addressing participants at the ceremony, and she says this is a story that is reported by Dinah Mensah. Dinah Mensah is a story by also the Vice President Professor Nana Jean Opoku Ajiman has urged women to build confidence in their abilities while maintaining respect and collaboration with others. Speaking during a celebration of International Women's Day at the presidency in Accra, she urged women to reject stereotypes that limited their confidence and discouraged them from entering fields such as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Quotes, be confident, raise your confidence. It is not about arrogance or disrespect. It is about building our country. End of quotes. We end there. Yaman Penina Bedichi Editujwa. Digital platform to regulate Korea sector launched. Ways to air Juliet Achasafo new story air page 17. Ocean for Minister of Communication Honorable Jata Sam George. Ekopium ewo inshimnase. 3 female students sweeps WAEC Distinction Awards. Hey, a man who said the omuji bibia o. Na memma no de no we saka wankwa ani betting. And one need the omoye. Ntaman si adisua na enko. Ha, a man o mayero hu no musua de. Na a man nko ansua de so na memma na ansua de. Hwan na be ware omo daachi. Nna sema se hwe. Na yem balance no. See WAEC and release we ka say exams course so recently our result na PA by no just say a man distinction kwa just say my idea man abroso Emmanuel born in this story by I see 3 female students of STEM challenge from their female counterparts to sweep the top 3 prizes of the 2025 West African Examination Council WAEC Distinction Awards in Accra yesterday. The awards were part of the final year student who sat the West African Senior School Certificate Examination WAEC for school candidates last year. In the 3 from 2 private schools, Circle Institution, Huda Soglu Suleimana, a former student of Legacy Girls College, who was adjudged the overall best candidate. Paula Azo Elinam. She's also the second, and the third was also the former Legacy Girls College, Matia Abba Ando. Just omo ena omoji awards na memma no de omo business mun school betting centers na no moko mo hwe na nyesa ma no ebekwa jam refund fees to disqualify the recruitment applicant we a minority. Nana Konedu Ajiman, and it's a story of Free Parliament of Ghana. Also, the Minority Caucus in Parliament has called for a bipartisan parliamentary probe into the centralized recruitment process for appropriate review. Quote, these applications should not be forced to bear the financial consequences of what appears to be a poorly managed exploitative recruitment process. It said, hey, as Reverend John Ntimfojo, ranking member on Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, on no addressing media and on this assembly. I'll see MPP Council of Patrons comment election committee. Akosua Freeman Osei Opare, chairperson MPP National Council of Patrons. We air news desk reports into the page 18 of the Daily Graphic. Demonstrate political will to confront problems. Dr. Bukari urges Mahama. Albert Kisali in the story, you can find the full detail of that particular story. A photo of the Mayaman Penny, page 19 of the Daily Graphic. And then page 20 of the Daily Graphic was it 3 to extend finance to female-owned SMEs. Stanbic Bank Ghana Limited, International Finance Corporates (IFC) and MasterCard have engaged in a strategic collaboration to accelerate access to finance and business support for female-owned small and medium enterprises and professionals in Ghana under the IFC Banking on Women program. Women entrepreneurs and professionals remain a powerful yet underserved segment of Ghana's business landscape. To address these gaps, Stanbic Bank, the IFC, and the MasterCard have collectively committed $600,000 develop tailored financial and non-financial solutions that expand access to capital for female-owned SMEs. They say the mapa, businesses, entrepreneurs. Yes, you see we have collaboration. I did bremo. Because you see that is an underserved community of segment of our society that has been not been paid attention to. All right, page 22 of the Daily Graphic. See, Baraka calls for international cooperation in West African terrorism fight. Become Emmanuel Domalene. This is a story by. See, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okututa Baraka, has called for international commitment in the fight against terrorism and violent extremism in West Africa. Speaking at the side of event of the Conference of Commonwealth Ministers of Foreign Affairs in the House of London last Monday, the minister indicated that it was about time the UN adopted the resolution seeking international financial support and troops to combat terrorism in West Africa. Honorable Okututa Baraka, a foreign minister, in Okasa, far away in London, about terrorism, how African countries should unite to fight these heinous activities by terror. Health supplies for all donate medicine to Achimota Hospital. Health supplies for all donate medicines to Achimota Hospital. Princess King Kwe, and this is a story was by LPH 22 of the Daily Graphic. DVLA inaugurates center at Gomwa. Is it Gomwa? All right. And also in the Oti region. Gomwa cannot be a region. Courtyard memories to horrors of war. Samuel S. Bio. That is a story. I'm saying not sure article. Very, very good one. Yes. Trying to explain how today our society is not really getting its rights. Copying blindly. And then this has Mineral Commissions deploy strategy to tackle Galamsey. We saw the story. You can find it on page 26 of the Daily Graphic. Top positioned to refine Ghana's local crude. Benjamin Glover. No, this has story we by. See the Tema Oil Refinery Tor has reaffirmed its technical capacity to refine crude oil from Ghana's local fields, contrary to claims suggested otherwise. Speaking to the Daily Graphic on Wednesday, March 11, 2026, the corporate affairs officer in charge of external affairs at Tor, Godwin Mahama Ayaba, stated that the refinery possesses the necessary equipment and technical expertise to process Ghana's crude oil, particularly from the Jubal and 10 oil fields. You said that the available records from the Ministry of Energy Green Transition, as well as from the refineries itself, clearly demonstrated that Tor had previously refined crude from Ghana's local fields. Mr. Ayaba cited a specific instance in 2016 when the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Energy, facilitated the supply of about 1 million barrels of crude oil from 10 fields to the Tema Oil Refinery for processing. Quote, the arrangement is a treatment is testament to the fact that Tor has capacity to refine our local crude. End of quote. He said he stated the discussions. He stated that discussions are now well advanced between the government of Ghana, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, and the Tema Oil Refinery about the possibility of supplying additional crude from Ghana's fields and refinery for processing. Yes, so that is the issue coming from tour. Sankato bet me aside you, Sanka bet me a boy. Na enja manoni asem na ye Wesley Grammar School at 70, Professor Kwate proposes PPP to expand education access, improve outcomes. Daniel Kenuni story, you can find it on page 28 of the Daily Graphic. And Nanopi NGO support Pampaso Krokese MA Basic School. NGO, yes, why are they? EcoBank Ghana rounds up 5-star enjoyment promotion in Kumasi, and also is on the page 29 of the Daily Graphic and the Anope. Okay, Zachariah Tay embraces Black Queens breakthrough, and also a sports page, a war 31st page of the Daily Graphic, and also a waha. In the back page of the Daily Graphic, the wager, and that will be the last story. I remember Bremo and Nanopi. Also, encroachment threatening wager water treatment plants. Joycelyn Kafu generated story by. So the Minister of Works and Housing and Water Resource, Kenneth Gilbert Ajay, has expressed concern over encroachment and other illegal activities surrounding the wager water treatment plant, warning that the situation threatens water production and supply to part of Accra and Kaswa. The minister said activities such as sand winning, farming, and illegal development within the catchment area of the dam could undermine efforts to ensure a sustainable water supply to the resident. Mr. J therefore said the government would work with relevant institutions, including local authorities and security agencies, to address the situation and protect the facility. Quote, "We are going to sit down and talk seriously about it and see how best we can ensure that we do not get further encroachment. And those who have already encroached will face punitive measures to deter others," he said. We ended a free wager, Kaswano Central Region. IGP deploys special team to Nhyira conflict. Also, the Inspector General of Police, Christian Teteyewonu, has ordered the immediate deployment of a specialized intelligence-led team to the troubled town of Nhyira following a violent outbreak of reprisal attack between members of the Brifo and Fulani communities. In a statement issued from the regional police headquarters in Damango yesterday, the command confirmed that the joint team of intelligence officers and investigations had been dispatched to reinforce the existing regional command. The move signals growing concerns over the escalating circles of violence in the remote savannah communities. We are somebody say so because Bukukra and we no way to ever babiuma ebe hadrin. Nti empenyi for mo modi ana mumfa mumfa nyamantu ye na ntimi mboa to settle this once and for all. Etie for ahanadi newspaper headlines segment edi bremo no ye di besi enne anope enchi bia no yesaba biuma na yedi mukwa edi mako at the time to look at the story once again. We're going for a short break. When we return, the show continues.
Baraka FM.